Hello, my Stampin' friends. Welcome to another episode of Stampin' with Candice, live coming to you from Hiram, Utah. I'm Candice Anderson, and hopefully everything is working correctly. Um, I have had multiple challenges with this lately. I'm going to try typing in the chat a quick hello just to make sure it's working there. And uh, one second here. I just want to make sure. I'm trying to go live to my group at the same time, and I want to make sure that it is going to work. So give me 1 second here. I'm still learning the group stuff, and I'm not real great at it. So bear with me. If I can find the right thing, I think I have to click on a button in here. Um, Schedule live now. Okay. I am not sure why it is not working on there. Maybe if I go to my group. Okay. Well, I'm sorry if it's not working. But anyway, for those who are here, welcome, and please feel free to comment in the chat and say hello. I'm excited to share with you my project tonight. For those of you who have been following along, or if you are new, I have been participating in a Christmas card challenge, actually 2 different ones. And whenever I can, I've been trying to combine the two together. So today's challenges from a card a day in November um, is, let's see, today is the 17th, Joy to the World. So globe, angels, or musical notes. And from the 30-day Christmas card challenge, it is caroling crew, enjoying joyful singers or music elements. So I thought it'd be fun to combine those. They work really well. But when I went searching through my stamps, I could have grabbed some old ones, and I like to do that on occasion. But I kept looking at my new stuff or current stuff, and I thought I would do some punch out instead, if you noticed from my description. So we're going to switch cameras and get started. I have pre-prepped a lot of stuff here. I did put a picture of this on my blog. If you go to stampinwithcandice.com, I have a picture of this on my blog, as well as all the measurements. So if you want to create this, and all the items that I've used. So we used some fun different things, and I'm going to show you what I used to come up with what I did. So first off, we used the Ornamental Christmas. You've seen me do a ton of stuff with this and the paper. It has the matching dies, and I used this little Christmas tree here, and I cut it out of the glimmer paper. The What is it called? I have it written down. Give me 1 second. It is called the Peaceful Garden Glimmer paper. So this is going to be the body of our angel here that we are making. And I just used the arches for my background. I did do something a little bit different on that. I'll show you in a second. The big one that I used is this Bee My Valentine. This is kind of an older set that we've had, and it has a matching punch that goes with it. And what I mostly used was this to create the head. When you punch it out, you want to cut off the little stinger there. And then I used the wings that were part of this to create the wings for my uh, angel, and we're going to add some Wink of Stella to those. And then I used this little one here. You could use pretty much anyone, but I used this one, and I want to show you what I did for this. And I just took my Memento ink. We're going to slide this out of the way for a second, and Well, we're going to grab this one here really quick and this one just so I can line it up kind of. So I did place it. So this, I used the hearts again for the hair, and I just cut out a bunch of them. You could stamp the little outlined part on it if you wanted to give it a little bit dimension. I didn't. I just I cut out 6 of them, and then one of them, I'll show you how I cut it before I do this. So I punched this part, then I stuck it back in here and just kind of held on to it a little bit and punched it again so that it will match to give my little hair along that. So now if you can look really close here, if I can get it to focus, you can see I've kind of masked off the eyes on here. So I'm actually going to remove this. This is just some of our masking paper. I just cut in a little strip. And I am going to try and ink just the little mouth on there, but just in case, I'm going to put that masking back over it and then kind of line these up here so I can stamp one of the eyes. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to ink that up, and I'm going to make sure that that goes over the extra part so I don't get extra ink on there. So quick, easy way to make the eyes on the angel. So I really encourage you to look at your different stamps. And punches. You can do a lot of things. So I've used the little 9 or the 6. I used the center to cut out for the mouth. I did look at doing the circle on here, but I just felt it was too big and I didn't like it a circle. I liked the O shaped here. And we're going to go ahead and put some of this together. I did use mini glue dots to put most of this together rather than the Tombow glue, just because it was a lot easier to put all the little pieces down. So I could just stick them on the back and then layer them. It also gives just a tiny bit of dimension as you're kind of putting it together. So we're going to start with that. I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple other things. So like I said, on the little wings, I'm going to go ahead and add some Wink of Stella so that they kind of shimmer a little bit. And then I used a couple other things. This is one of the new online exclusives. It's the Stampin' Cut and Emboss swirl designs. So when we open it up, this is the new packaging. If you haven't seen it yet, I can pull this out. And I added the magnet for this, but we are going to use this little circle here, and that's what we're going to use to create our halo. And I just cut it out of some of our gold paper. And what else do we have here? Last but not least, I have the Gift of Joy stamp set. So this one is a little bit unusual as to what I used, but I used this right here, and it is going to go on the bottom of this dress here. And then I used this as the inside of the ornaments, and I stamped that twice. I mean, once, sorry, not twice. I stamped it, and then I'm just going to cut it, and I'm going to cut the little pieces apart because I thought it kind of looked like hands. So when I cut it apart, I get the 2 little pieces here for her hands. And then this one, I just stamped the edge, not the inside, but the edge in embossing and embossed it on the gold. And then I did a score line down the middle on that. So that's going to pop up just a little bit. And now we can put this together. Again, I used lots of mini glue dots. And we're going to have to grab another pile of them, or another, might have to grab the other set out of the drawer. So we're just going to add a whole bunch onto here. Now, you don't have to have the full. If they're cut off a little bit, that's fine. In fact, my original one, they were all cut off some. We're just going to add these on to the back here. And then I just kind of started layering them up to create her hair. So I kind of went with the ones on each side, and then I went with one in the middle here. And then when I did that, I was like, it's not quite full enough. So I added another one here and another one here. And then this one, I just used the one sticking up through the center so that you could get her hair. You could add some ink to this if you wanted to. Like I said, you could stamp it, whatever. I just kind of went fairly basic. Then the next thing I did is I did add a glue dot in the middle of this, kind of where it has a little bit more extra pull, and I don't want it on perfect. It's going to be a little bit crooked on her head. We're just going to attach that to the back so she has a cute little halo. All right, now for this one here, you can see it is a tiny bit too big. I am going to go over the trunk of the tree there, but I just cut this down a little bit. So I just kind of went in here and cut this so it was closer to the size I wanted. And we're going to add some Wink of Stella to that. And I just thought it made a nice trim for the bottom of her dress. This and the wings are stamped in the pool party. Now this one I stamped off. If you don't know what that means I stamped on a paper and then I stamped on it so that I could get the two different colors on those. So again, we're going to grab some more mini glue dots. I'm just going to add a few to the back of this. We're going to put it onto here. And then we can add mini glue dots to each of these ends and stick them back in here. Now I could have went with the one that was straight. Part of the reason I went with the dual tree is because I felt like it kind of was her arms, kind of around here. And then we're going to do one on the back and attach it to there. And we have a cute little angel. And the front felt kind of empty, which is where this one comes in. And so I kind of decided to make it a little bit of a songbook. I know traditionally you would fold it this way, but I liked it popping this way and the hands covered enough that I felt it worked going that way. But here's the trick on this. What I did is I took a little mini glue dot, not glue dot, what are they? Dimensional. I put a mini dimensional on each side there, and then I took a big one and kind of put it in the center, connecting two of them so that it would kind of pop, and then this part would hold it on to my my little image, so it kind of pops out. If you're looking from the side, you can see it kind of pops just a little bit. And then we're going to grab more mini glue dots. I told you, if you read my description on my blog, I said lots of mini glue dots just because it made it a whole lot easier to put together. And so we're just going to add it onto each side here. I do have the part that kind of dented in, I guess is the word I'm looking for, a little bit, and the rounded edge on the outside. And again, you can kind of see where that's kind of like her arm or her elbow. So super cute, easy way to make an angel. I highly encourage you to look through what you have and see what you can come up with. Okay, so now we're going to do the card base here. Again, I used the Everyday Arches, and on this one here, I embossed it. Now, I will mention this is an old embossing folder because I wanted the the musical notes. It's called Melody, but you could use just about any embossing folder. What I did was I took my Whisper White craft ink and I just opened it up and then I just went directly to paper. I'm not going to do it right now because this is a craft ink. It takes a little bit to dry. So that's why I kind of pre-did it, but I just brushed it to make the image like pop up just a little bit. Um, and then let's see what else I did here. So I'm just going to layer these two and I'm going to use my Stampin' Plus. I like the plus better than the regular just because if you look really close, there's some little like lines. I don't know if you can see that, but it breaks easier. Plus it holds stronger. So it's a little bit more expensive, but I prefer it over the other. So we're going to put that one on there. And see, that ink is still a little bit wet, and I did that last night. And then we're going to grab some of our blue shimmer ribbon. Now, you might have noticed something. I used Pool Party on the angel for the wings and the bottom, but then I ended up doing blues for the back of this, and I wondered if it was going to work okay. I almost switched this out to balmy blue, but I actually kind of liked the contrast of the blue green with the blue on there instead of it being blue. So that is what I decided to do. And I just attached that to the back and I'm going to tie a little knot on here. All right. Almost done here. Okay, so this is my Azure afternoon, and it's just our standard card base here. If you are in another country, I am sorry. I'm in America, and I did not change it, but I'm sure you know what your measurements are to be able to change it. Now, when I put this on there, it felt kind of like dull to me. So I said, okay, I've already got this one embossed. What can I do to the back of this? I thought about taking it just directly to paper, just like I did on this, and brushing it on here. But instead, I started looking at my stamp sets. Where did it go? So you can see we have our flower here. And then we have this one that we can stamp to add the color into it. And this one is going to add color into the leaves. Well, I was like, this is kind of a cool background. So I used that background and I just stamped it right on to the thing. Now keep in mind, it does have this little extra here, but most of it's going to get covered up. So when I stamped it, I kind of made sure that I kind of went in a circle and kept that little weird part into the center that's going to get covered up by my arch. So I just kind of went around the edge of that just to add some dimension to the back of that. Before I close this, we're going to do one more thing. So we have two different sayings. This one actually says Happy Christmas, and I wanted Merry Christmas. So we are going to just ink up the, I don't know how clean that is. Sorry, I'm going to wipe that off. We're going to ink up just that. We're going to stamp the Christmas, and then we're going to stamp the Merry and move this out of the way here. And then this is our 3 banner punch. And so I just went in, let's see, I want to go this way with it. And so I can line it up here and you can see it's not going all the way, but I'm trying to get that line there. And then I can stick it back in. And if you need help holding on to it, you can attach it. In fact, I'll show you the easy way to do it. If you grab a Post-it note, you can attach, just stick it onto a Post-it note, and then you can stick it back in. the punch and still be able to hold on to it. I'm going to do a smaller piece. But then I can stick it back in it and hold on to it to punch it down to that smaller and get that other edge. I love punches like this because you can really make them whatever size you want them to be. So again, we're going to punch this side first. So we get actually, we're going to do it the opposite. I'm going to go ahead and punch that one. You could, if you needed to, you could just cut that one if you wanted to, but I'm going to just stick it back in. And we'll use the other one here. And stick it back into the punch and line it up. And we have our punched sentiment that we wanted. Now we can finish putting this all together. Move those here. And I used a bunch of dimensionals on this one because I wanted to pop it up. So we're just going to put a whole bunch of them on the back here. All right. And let's flip this around. Maybe we'll add that to our front. And then I'm actually going to add these before I add the angel, just because it helps me to place it a little bit better. And I'm just using the mini dimensionals on the back. And we'll put one here and one here. And of course, you could use the happy if you wanted the happy instead of the merry. And then we're going to add some dimensionals to the back of this. I should probably put one behind the head here. And we can add our little angel. And there we go. There's our finished card. You can see my first one here. Pretty much the same. You could add a sentiment. This is a darker inside, so I would maybe consider adding a white. You could add it in the arch if you wanted to make it match, and add another sentiment so you have something to write in. But that is our cute little angel for our, what did I say they were? It is Joy to the World and caroling crew. So, our little singing angel, I thought worked really well for both of them. I hope you enjoyed that. I am going to switch cameras back here for a second. Couple of things. If you haven't joined me before, I have actually been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for 20 years this Saturday. So I am going to be having a little bit of fun. You can jump on. I will be going live later that night. And hopefully, it's a little last minute because I wasn't sure what was happening with work, but I am planning a little event if you live locally and would like to join me. I will be sending out some texts, or feel free to text me and say, I want to come. But I will be having a little event at my house that night to celebrate. If you'd like to celebrate, remember you can always go to my blog at stampinwithcandice.com if you're interested in any of the products and want to order them. Now is a great time. We do have some specials starting, I think, December 1st. But, get some stuff now and start your Christmas cards. It is Candice.Anderson at .stampinup.net. CandiceAnderson.stampinup.net. Sorry, no dot in between my first and last name. It is Candice with an I and Anderson with an O. You can catch it in the corner there. If you have any questions, again, thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a Stamptastic night and that you enjoyed this quick tutorial. Bye-bye.